Nasturtium flowers. I've been learning lately that a lot of gardeners really dislike growing nasturtium flowers. I guess they're kind of a pain in the ass. They're little bastards in the garden, but this little guy has been growing like crazy since we finally got it in the Vago raised garden bed. But I gotta tell you, I'm happy it's growing this well. Maybe we got lucky, maybe we didn't. I really don't have any gardening tips for you. It's just growing well for us here where we live in zone 6. So one of the things that you should know about nasturtium, if you've never had it, it's got a really peppery, almost mustard-like kind of flavor. More peppery than mustard, but its texture is a little crunchy too, so it's got like kind of that arugula / watercress kind of feel and taste to it. So it's a really versatile plant, especially since you can actually cook with the flowers, or you can eat the flowers, you can eat the leaves, you can eat the stems. You can do a lot with the nasturtium flower, and I'm gonna show you 3 really incredible recipes that are gonna blow you away with nasturtium flowers. So let's get cooking. You know, one of the things that I think has been really helping this plant is how we're trimming it off to harvest the flowers and the leaves. So what we've been doing, instead of cutting right here at the base of the flower where the flower meets the stem, is we've been taking it all the way down to where the stem meets the base of the stalk, okay? Let's see if I can get that for you right here. So just coming down here and trimming right there. So then we're taking the whole stem and the flower. All of it's edible, so let's use it. And the same thing with the leaves. You don't want the really leathery ones, but none of these are really leathery right now. So if they're really thick leaves, you really don't want those ones, but you can go ahead and prune them off to encourage more growth, but also take it right down to the base of the stem as well. So to take the leaf and the flower all the same. So we're just gonna take a few, these like really young ones, I'm gonna let those grow up a little bit, but again, right down at the base. And I think, I'm totally guessing, but I think that's helping this nasturtium plant grow really well. And I actually really like the nasturtium flower. I think it's a really interesting looking flower, the way it's got this little like shoot off the back, but this is what makes it, for one of the recipes, really interesting and really flavorful, because we're gonna stuff it with something since it's like a super deep flower. So pretty cool, you'll see that in a second. All right, I'm gonna trim the rest of this up and take some flowers in with us and we'll get cooking. And we don't wanna over trim. Another thing is, don't do what I'm doing right now and trimming this around noon when it's like really hot. You wanna do this in the morning or in the evening so the flowers and the leaves are a little bit more crispy. All right, let's get started. If you've watched my channel for a little bit of time, you will know that I love to make a nice, salty, juicy, medium rare to rare steak, and an incredible way to add some additional flavor that will complement steak is nasturtium flowers. That peppery, herb, kind of earthy flavor will just go right along with your steak and enhance that beefiness that you love about steak, right? So one of the things we like to do is turn it into a compound butter. Now, what's a compound butter? It's really just a softened butter that you can season and add different herbs and spices to, and salts and peppers, whatever you like, and then you put it back in the fridge, let it harden, and then you can place it on your steaks or your pork chops or whatever you like. So a compound butter is a super easy thing to do, and really anybody can do it. Let's get started. First, go ahead and take out 1 stick of butter, set it on your counter, and let it get soft. If you're the type of person that keeps butter out on the counter already, you're already ahead. For mine, I'm gonna do my nasturtium flower and some fresh garlic, some fresh thyme from the garden, and some fresh rosemary from the garden. So the first thing you wanna do is go ahead and smash up your butter. Just put it in a bowl and smash it up with a fork. Dice up that nasturtium flower, dice up your garlic, dice up your chop up your rosemary and your thyme, and go ahead and just plop it right into that smashed butter. I like to go ahead and season it with a little pinch of salt and pepper. Just stir it around in your bowl and get it completely mixed up and combined. Now, once you have your butter all mixed up, what you would normally do is have some plastic wrap and just lay some plastic wrap on your counter, and then take your butter mixture and just plop it onto the middle of that plastic wrap. And then what you would normally do, I'm out of plastic wrap, unfortunately. So what you would normally do is you would twist up the ends, fold the plastic over the butter, twist up the ends, and then just kind of wind it like this to form it into a nice tube shape. Like I said, I'm out of plastic wrap, but I just tried to form it myself as best I could with my knife. Gotta be fine, we're melting it on steak anyway. Then once you have it formed, go ahead and toss it in your fridge to solidify it. Now, what kind of steak am I using it with? So my son is the grill chef at a local restaurant called the Skunk and Goat Tavern, and he brought home some nice thick filet mignons with their own house smoked bacon. So yeah, paired this compound butter with a beautiful filet mignon and smoked bacon. Dry your filet mignon or your steak with some paper towels. Season it with salt like you would a sidewalk in the wintertime. A lot of salt. You lose actually about 30% of salt when you throw your steak on your grill or in the pan, however you're gonna cook it. So you actually lose quite a bit of salt, so that's why you definitely want to not over season, but just heavily season. Now I'm gonna smoke my filet on my Halo pellet grill at 235 degrees Fahrenheit, and this is maybe 20 to 30 minutes, but I'm gonna keep checking. What I wanna get get to is I want to get the internal temperature of the steak to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. And then once that steak reached 110 degrees Fahrenheit, I cranked up the pellet grill to 500 and opened up that sear plate. What I want to do now is I want to hit that beautifully smoked steak with some nice hot flames and sear the outside, sear the end of it, and get that bacon nice and crispy. And then basically I'm just going to cook them over the fire until I reach an internal temperature of 125 degrees Fahrenheit, and then I'm going to pull them off to rest. And now comes in our butter. So while our beautiful steaks are resting, let's go ahead and take a nice big chunk of that Nasturtium compound butter and place it right on top of our filet. Now you could just let it melt naturally with the heat that's coming up from the steak, but I like to add a little bit more fire, so I used my propane torch and just flamed it all up and get that butter nice and sizzling on top and increase that Maillard reaction that I've created with the fire on the steak. Now just slice and serve and enjoy, my friends. This Nasturtium compound butter is going to complement a filet especially, because a filet doesn't really have a whole lot of fattiness to it, but it is super tender. So the extra fattiness from the butter is gonna help carry that beefiness that's in the steak through our mouths and make it taste so much better. Like I keep saying, that pepperiness and that earthiness from the nasturtium flowers is going to complement so well, and it is so delicious. This is a wonderful eating experience. Now that we've just had a beautiful steak, one of the things that goes well with steak, other than red wine, is a nice peppery cocktail. Yes, we're making nasturtium cocktails, but we're actually going to be placing our nasturtium flowers in ice cubes, so it's going to be a pretty cocktail. So, and then we're gonna plop those into our cocktails to enjoy a lovely cocktail with a beautiful accent. So today we're going to be doing a gin cocktail. The botanicals and floral notes that are naturally in gin are going to complement super well with the peppery and earthy tones of the flower. Plus, it's just gonna be beautiful. And we're also going to be using some pansies that my wife also grew, and those are also edible. Not a whole lot of flavor in pansies, but they are beautiful. So we're gonna put those in the ice cubes too, just so we can have a nice floral cocktail. Okay, so you can see I've got this little kind of oval flat top thing. We actually use this for spaghetti sauce, for individual spaghetti sauce servings for our kids, but we're gonna use it for booze flowers, boozy ice cube flowers. All right, let's go ahead and cut off the stem and submerge. I mean, there's really nothing, you know, I might have to cut off this bottom guy here just to get it to fit right. Get it to submerge, and there we go. It doesn't have to be perfect, it's just gonna freeze up in there. Let's do a couple leaves too, a couple of these nasturtium leaves. Fold them down in there, just completely submerge the leaves. Ooh, that's gonna be pretty. Okay, here's my wife's pansies that she grew from seed. And submerge. Oh yeah, that's gonna be super cool. I'll give you a top-down shot in a minute when I get these all done. Different color one. And let them waterlog and then they'll sink a little better. Here's another one. I mean, how cool is this gonna be if this works? Like I said, folks, haven't done this before, so this is a completely new experiment for me. You know what I might do for the ones with the leaves, since I've got 2 extra flowers here, I'll put the pansy in with the nasturtium leaf. And there we are. Let these waterlog a little bit and then they'll sink, and then I will toss them into the freezer. Let's freeze them. All right, so here we are about 5 to 6 hours later. We've got our accoutrement, and check out the frozen ice cube flowers. All right, let's make a cocktail. Gotta make sure it sits face up. All right, that's the one with the nasturtium. And now we'll do the nasturtium flower with the pansy, and then another nasturtium and pansy. Go. I like to have 2 lime wedges. Doesn't matter what gin you use. I like this one because it's pretty affordable and delightful. I'm pretty sure it's Matthew McConaughey, because every star needs to have a gin, right? Or a liquor. Let's get that much. One of the things we like to do with our cocktails, just to keep it clean, is we just use LaCroix as a mixer. And with gin, I usually like the beach plum flavor. I don't know why. Now, word to the wise, LaCroix is not the best like cutter of alcohol, so your drink will taste strong. That's why you definitely want to use a lot of ice and a good pour of the LaCroix. Yes, ma'am. I love this glass. Let me get up and show you this glass. Here's a nice, lovely beagle, like my beagle on it. Okay, cheers, everybody. Nasturtium ice cube cocktails. What's the matter with that? We'll let that ice melt in there as we sip along, and we'll see how the botanicals in the gin, like I said, interact with the aroma, the floral aroma from the pansies, and the peppery aroma and flavor from the nasturtium. That is tasty. You know, it's like you barely taste the beach plum, but it's there, and it just adds that nice carbonation. If you're trying to avoid sugar and you still want to have a cocktail, gin and LaCroix, a couple slices of lime, and some nasturtium flowers and pansies in your ice cubes, or not, just crush them up and throw them in there and muddle them down. You got a great little cocktail for you. So what do you think? Will you guys give this a try? Nasturtium flower ice cubes in your cocktails. Cheers. We're gonna do something kind of crazy. This is a delicate flour, but we're going to make a cream cheese stuffing with some imitation crab meat, some shishito peppers from the garden, some purple basil, and some green onion tops also from the garden. So I actually only have 2 flours right now, but what you would do if you're gonna do this is you would want about 12 to make a good little appetizer. And what you wanna do is let's take our first flour. So we're just gonna clip off the stem here and then let's get going. All right, here we go. Let's just remove this little stem guy. Here we go. We've got our perfect little, beautiful little flour. I mean, that looks like Cheetos color, like pulled it right from the garden. You saw? Okay. Like I said, we've got our shishito peppers. A couple times we grew them and they were damn spicy. All right, purple basil, beautiful stuff. And our tops of our green onions. Our green onions are still grown, so we just cut the tops off. It'll be fine. So now I have to tell you that the aroma from these flours, like I just put them in water because I had some things to do today. So after I cut them, I just placed them in water so that they'd stay a little fresh. But the aroma just coming from here is amazing. Very, very peppery and like almost surprisingly peppery. First thing we want to do is take our purple basil, and we don't need a lot here because we're just making 1 flour. But what you'll want to do is just take your purple basil and we're just going to chiffonade this. We're just going to roll it up, and then you're just going to chop it up. There we go, and that's what you should have. Okay, we'll just set that aside for right now. Let's take our green onion. We only need a couple of these guys. And we're just going to just chop. That's perfect. That's about as many as we need for this right here. So you'll want to just kind of adjust this recipe as you go, depending on how many you need to make, but 1 pepper is going to be fine. I mean, I'm probably not even going to use this entire pepper for just 1 flour, but you can use softened cream cheese. I'm using the whipped stuff just to make this a little easier to get into it because, you know, just a little delicate flour, you know, we don't want to be being rude up in there. So, so let's go get some out. We're just dealing with a little flour here. So let's just, I mean, this is probably even too much right there. So we're just gonna plop that baby in there. Let's go ahead and put our basil and green onion in, and then I'll show you what we're gonna add next. A little bit of imitation crab meat, just to add that kind of seafood flavor to complement our pepper. So let's go ahead and chop up this pepper. And what's great about this is you can really just kind of make whatever ingredients you want with this cream cheese stuffing. Just, okay, let's get our shishitos. Nice shishitos. Just wanna chop it up into little tiny pieces. Yeah, here is our crab meat. Boom, boom. Just add a little bit of salt. Good, little pinch, and let's stir it up. Wow, it smells amazing. That shishito pepper is way more fragrant than I was expecting. I think that looks pretty good. I think it needs it. That's nice. You know what? I think it needs a little acid. We're gonna hit it with something else. Just gonna give it a little squeeze of a lemon, just a little bit. Beautiful. Okay, man, that smells good. Okay, here it goes. Hopefully I don't squeeze it right down into the, all right. Now it's funny when you just make things up like this on the spot while you're thinking of doing things for food. And so this, I think, is pretty interesting. So we filled our nasturtium flour with a lovely, peppery, fresh tasting cream cheese mix. That is awesome. So one thing you could do with this is you could fold over the flour so that to try to keep that cream cheese mixture in there, but I would just put them on a nice platter and just kind of line them up. And there you've got one of the most beautiful, tasty, peppery little smackers. You just pop this in your mouth and you got peppery, cream cheese, savory, lemon, a little bite from the shishito pepper in there. All right, let's taste this. I'm pretty curious, so I'm super excited about this too. All right, here we go. See what we made. This was totally off the top of our heads. Oh my God, this is gold, folks. That is so surprising how amazing that tastes. The combination of the shishito, that little bit of lemon, the purple basil is so nice in here, really nice touch. And the crab meat is just super subtle, so you get that kind of like little subtle flavor. Man, that's a winner. If you're looking for something to do with your nasturtium flours and you wanna make a really amazing appetizer, this wasn't hard, this was super easy. Just fill them up with a piping bag and you're good to go. Beautiful appetizer that tastes surprisingly incredible. So if you got anything out of this video, I hope it's that you see nasturtium in a different light. It's a lot more versatile than you really think, and you can do a lot with it other than a garnish that some people may or not understand that they can pick up off the plate and eat it up. It's really peppery, it's got lots of great flavors. It does make your dishes look more beautiful. So, and it comes in a variety of different colors too, and you can eat the leaves, so you can really decorate and play more than you think. So that's what makes it really kind of fun, especially if you're growing it yourself. So if you're thinking of growing nasturtium flowers, or or if you already have been growing nasturtium flowers, I'd love to know the kind of recipes that you guys love to do. Hit me up in the comments below. And if you've done any of these recipes that I went over today, also let me know. I'd love to know what you think about them. And if you're gonna do them, definitely talk to me. One of my favorites was that stuffed flower. It is amazing how good that tastes. And I promise you, if you've never tried it before, it will be shockingly delicious. I promise you. So as always, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.